as we good friends here in the Massenomics crew
we only squat to depth.
Yes, friends don't let friends squat high. There are a lot of sounds coming out of your knee right
That's just how it is.
All of that, just to put some pieces of metal on another piece of metal, bend your knees and stand up.
Massenomics.
What's up, guys? We are here with big Chad Wesley Smith, and he's going to teach us a thing or two about squatting. Chad, what do you know about squatting?
I've done a couple deep knee bends in my day, but excited to work with the star JUGGERNAUT AI user, Tommy D.
You subscribe long enough, you might get picked to be in a video too, so make sure you're signed up. Squat PR, Chad, what's?
970 pounds in wraps. My best in sleeves. In a meet is only 848, but I only did one meet in sleeves.
Very modest.
937 in training.
All right.
Yeah.
So today you are going to walk me through, squat is my favorite lift.
How bad is that conversion, by the way? Sleeves to wraps, 937 and 970?
Squat is my favorite lift, but that doesn't mean I can't learn something new. Chad, you're going to walk me through the basics, some common errors, things that people do wrong, and we'll see if I can learn something here.
All right, so first thing we want to talk about is the setup. So maybe even swing around a little bit this way.
Yeah.
So good squat, any lift starts with a good setup. If you're not set up tight in a strong position, it's not going to go well. So much of the squat is going to happen from the upper back, or so much of the parts of the good setup. So as Tommy ducks under the bar here, we're looking to move our hands, whatever your kind of normal hand position is. If you can slide that in even a quarter of an inch on each side, it's going to create more tension in the upper back.
Yep.
Then we're trying to pinch the shoulder blades together as tightly as possible until people, they're trying to like squeeze a pencil, or just put my fingers there and squeeze my fingers, pinch my fingers. And then we're also trying to squeeze the elbows towards the middle of the body. So they're not actually going to touch, but the intent of trying to pull them together to try and get them to touch is great, and that all works out really well. So the tighter that you can get here, the more stable torso you're going to have during the squat, the less likely you are to get rounded forward. You're also creating like a good, strong shelf for the bar. Now, if you're struggling, go ahead and relax. If you're struggling with pain in the shoulder, maybe some bicep tendonitis, elbow pain, wrist pain, particularly with the low bar squat, you might need to start, with your first set, your hands all the way out the collars, and then slide it in, slide it in, slide it in as you go, or start with the bar in a high bar position, and then with each warm-up set, you slide the bar down a little bit further. You don't need to really jam yourself in there for a warm-up set with the empty bar.
And that's one thing I've noticed is I think for most things considered good shoulder mobility, but even when I'm starting, I got to start out wide. And as things get warmer and looser, I get it tighter and tighter and tighter. So by my working sets, I'm really locked in.
Yeah, like I used to, even when I was very big, 350, 360 pounds, would squat right about here, like with my thumb covering the ring, which isn't that wide, but there's a lot of man in between those hands as well. So, and then I strained my UCL like a week out from a meet, and I was like, all right, I'll just grin and bear it through the meet with the close hands, and then after that, I'm gonna do a bunch of high bar squats, put my hands way out on the collars, my hands are like all the way out now, and I just never regained that mobility. So it can be if you don't use it,
you lose it.
In fact, lose it. Yeah.
That's what they always say.
Yeah. So once you're doing a good job with that tight setup, so we're getting our hands closer, we're squeezing our upper back together, and then we're pulling our elbows towards each other. Then next important key is going to be how we breathe and brace in the squat. So go ahead and unrack that and walk it out. So breathing and bracing in the squat, for a long time, a real common cue was to take big air into your belly. But if all you do is take big air into your belly and push your abs forward, that's going to tend to put you in lumbar extension. Mm-hmm. And the kind of analogy I like to use for this is a can. If you had an empty, maybe Spindrift lemon can sitting on a table.
You got my attention now.
And you went to crush that empty can, it would take some good force to crush it. But as soon as you put a dent in the side of the can, smashes right away. So that dent in the side of the can would be over, too much extension through the lumbar spine, or obviously flexion is going to be problematic as well, but kind of everyone knows that. But what we're trying to do is create a more neutral position. So this can of stability idea that if the bottom of Tommy's ribs are pointed at the top of his pelvis, like they're square pointed at each other, and then as he breathes in, he's trying to push that air down and out into his obliques, making his waist as wide as possible. It's not a coincidence, and there's a lot of factors that go into this, but the best squatters in the world, they aren't, really narrow-waisted individuals. You're Ray Williams, you're Jesus Oliveras, you're Chad Wesley Smiths. So the more girthy you can make your midsection through your breathing and bracing, the stronger brace pattern you're going to have.
Arms are falling asleep. Yep. Okay. Yep. So breathing in. So okay. I'll keep following along here.
Yeah. So we're taking big air, and you can even do it without the bar. It's not a big deal.
Yeah. Oh.
You can take big air in through your belly, even nose and belly together, and we're trying to force that air down and out into the obliques. So even just putting your hands on your obliques as you breathe in, trying to feel pushing out against them, bracing, flexing your abs as hard as you possibly can. Use the cue like you're going to get punched in the stomach. That's a useful way to think of it. But we want to be everything stacked on top of each other, that intact can of stability, rather than just big air into my belly and pushing my belly forward, causing lumbar extension. Or what you see a lot of people do is they're breathing up here in their chest and shoulders, and that's not where stability is going to be created in the squat. It's got to be down here.
Makes sense.
All right, so next thing, and you can even go with hands wide on this.
Oh, okay.
Is going to be where our foot pressure is throughout the squat. Similarly to the cue, big air in your belly, which is a very popular thing, powerlifting for a long time. There's a lot of cueing towards pushing your hips back or sitting back on your heels, and while that can work, maybe better for equipped lifting, and if you're not planning on squatting below parallel, if you want to squat to legal, proper powerlifting depth, as we good friends here in the Massenomics crew
we only squat to depth.
Yes. Friends don't let friends squat high, so we're going to make sure that we do this. We want to have our weight evenly distributed through the full foot. So big toe, little toe, and heel being even pressure through those 3 points of contact. And
so none of this, none of the squirrely stuff here?
No, we want to be planted into the ground. Some would say rooted into the ground, but even pressure in the tripod foot, big toe, little toe, and heel. And then from there, we're squatting down. All right, so that's going to be a simultaneous unlocking of the knees and hips. And he's just sitting down beautifully, a couple pops in the hip as we go.
Just on a lot of airplane rides.
Yeah, that's the first one, though. So he's sitting straight down, keeping the bar over his midfoot, keeping the weight evenly distributed through his full foot. And what you'll see with some people as they come out of the hole is that their hips sometimes will shoot back.
Oh. So they'll go.
Yeah, and when that happens, the weight is shifting back in the foot as the knee shifts back. So if you have that problem happening for you, if you're to really think about big toe pressure, pushing your big toe into the ground to help keep your knees forward, and that doesn't mean that they're way out over your toes necessarily, though that's fine because you have ankles and
they bend. Take care of that.
But it's whatever your most forward knee position is in the bottom of the squat. For the first couple inches on the way up, you want it to stay there. So Tommy's keeping pressure in the big toe. Yeah, he's keeping his knees forward so he can really use his quads to push himself out of the hole. There are a lot of sounds coming out of your knee right now.
That's just how it is.
All right, go ahead and rack it. All right, so we've talked about upper back position. We've talked about breathing and bracing. We've talked about foot pressure. The last thing I want to talk about with the squat is going to be kind of tempo and how to use your upper back well out of the hole. So we've all done this, we've all seen people do it, is we're going down confidently, aggressively in your first warm-up set, second warm-up set, so on and so forth. And then as someone gets to their heaviest set for the day, they unrack it and they start going down like this. All right, now they're using so much more energy on the eccentric phase of that lift on the way down, and they're losing any ability to kind of exploit the stretch reflex out of the hole. So however fast you go down, you want to always go down that same speed. And you want to go down as fast as you can go down, as fast as I can go down, as fast as Tanner could go down. It's not all the same. It's as fast as our individual techniques will tolerate. So as well as you can stay tight and hit consistent positions, on one hand, that's going to be like a Shane Heyman, ultimate dive bomb squatter, Olympic weightlifter, and a great IPF powerlifter squatting over 1,000 in old school single ply gear. He was like pulling himself into the hole, like faster than the speed of gravity, I think, would pull him down. And then we got someone like Stan Efferding, really slow squatter, both great squatters, and I'd asked Stan about that before, and he said, if I go down faster, I lose my balance. So Shane was going down as fast as he could, as fast as humanly possible, and Stan was going down as fast as he could, as fast as his technique would tolerate. So that's what we want to do as well. So it's got to be consistent from rep to rep to rep. And as if anything, if you have a hard time, kind of starting the descent quickly, it's not important necessarily that you're not going to utilize the stretch reflex up here. It's going to be that last inch above parallel to just below parallel. That's where you need to be aggressive, hit the bottom of the hole with just a little bit of acceleration and try and exploit a little bit of bounce. And the more, I think the smart sounding term for it is tissue approximation. Is when your hamstring and your calf collide with each other. Maybe your belly and your quads. Some people are more gifted in this area than others, and they're going to be able to descend a little bit more quickly and kind of get some more of that bounce out of there. But however fast you're going down, if you can just have a little acceleration into the hole, that's going to help you, get a little bit more speed coming up. And then this was something I learned from the GOAT, Edward Cohen. I wonder if it's Edward or Edwin. Probably Edward.
Yeah. His middle name could be Edwin too, though. Edward Edwin. Maybe. Maybe. He told me that you need to create equal pressure with your back into the bar as with your feet into the floor. Because I would have trouble where I'd hit the hole, my hips would shoot back, and I'd kind of get in this little good morning kind of thing, but my back wasn't particularly strong relative to my quads. So yeah, the big toe pressure was helpful for me in keeping my knees forward, but really actively pushing with my upper back into the bar to try and use all the back strength I have as effectively as possible to keep a more upright torso and be able to use my strong quads to push myself out of the hole. So, and a lot of times that just takes kind of practice and timing. That even with an empty bar as you're going down to hit the hole and drive your upper back into the bar, you need to be able to do it with an empty bar, then one plate and two plates and so on and so forth up to whatever weight you're going to be doing it, but just getting that practice of actively driving the upper back into the bar. So we've got tight setup, we've got proper breathing and bracing, we've got 3 points of contact in the foot, and we've got aggressive descent and using our upper back out of the hole. All of that just to put some pieces of metal on another piece of metal, bend your knees and stand up. PR City, here we come.
Yeah.
Well, actually, you're missing one piece, though. So is that all of our squat technique? Is that how all that goes? I mean, those are all the details there. The final piece, though, is to bring it all together. You need to make sure you're signed up for JUGGERNAUT AI. Because once you know how to squat, you got to know the sets and the reps and all that good stuff. JUGGERNAUT AI, I've been a user for years. Does a great job with all that. So code Massenomics can save you a little bit on the lifetime of your membership while you're at it.
And that is at juggernautai.app. And you one day can aspire to be this.
In Chad's garage.
Probably if you're just signed up for the app and you show up to my house.
Read the fine print. You can't do that. It says in the fine print. But there's just be cool about it. Well, Chad, thanks a lot for walking us through all those squat techniques. I'm ready. I'm ready to go hit a PR. I got a RP 10 week next week, so I will put all these to use. Make sure you're following Massenomics on YouTube. Check us out on Instagram. Go buy some stuff on our website while you're at it too. We will see you guys next time.